Sometimes you just feel the need for speed. And here at PokerStars, we see nothing wrong with feeding that need. Welcome to the Turbo Championship of online poker. Event number 16, $320 no limit hold'em knockout event. When you knock somebody out, you get their bounty. First prize, $127,000. I mention all the time how poker is truly a worldwide game. Well, how about 9 different countries represented at this final table? Pat Man from Macau, our chip leader with nearly 6 million chips. Nakahai, our short stack with only 444,000, will pick up the action at hand number 3. Blinds are 50,000, 100,000, but don't worry, those blinds will escalate fairly quickly. Get a raise here from Sat1337. Surge Nuts with 1.1 million chips and Pocket Queens. Surge Nuts, by the way, successful mid-stakes MTT grinder. He puts in volume, he racks up the final tables, has over $500,000 in tournament earnings on Stars. And Surge Nuts is all in for 1.1 million. Fonbet with the Ace-7. Fonbet, by the way, Sunday Million champion of July of last year. This is going to fold around back to Sat1337 with the Ace-Queen. And just a question, does he want to call off? Now, he's actually got Surge Nuts covered. It's an additional $900,000 to win $1.6 million. But it is an under-the-gun raise and an under-the-gun +1 all-in. Obviously, more indicative of strength. Sat does make the call with Ace-Queen off. Pot is 2.5 million chips. Surge Nuts in the lead at risk. All spades out there. Sat needs a spade or an ace. A red jack is going to be just fine for Surge Nuts as he doubles up to 2.5 million. Sat back down to 1.9 million. Ace-Queen, an awfully pretty hand, and I'm not sure if you can fold that or not, but you've got to realize that when you raise under the gun and get 3-bet shoved by a player that's under the gun +1, that is very indicative of huge strength. Ace-Queen off, rarely good in that case, especially in a full ring game. Fonbet with the Ace-10. Not going to raise. It's only got 10 big blinds. Didn't want to put his tournament life on the line with that one. Pat Man, our chip leader in the cutoff. No reason for him not to raise, and he does. Pat Man, by the way, a bit of an enigma. He's a familiar face in the Nosebleed Stakes, plays PLO and No Limit Hold'em. He regularly takes on top competition, and thanks in no small part to the size of his bankroll and his Macau address, speculation about his identity is rampant, but remains a mystery for now. Infetic decides to just call the raise with the 5s, possibly wanting to see a safe flop before committing the rest of his chips. This is relatively safe, 9-9-4. He checks it. Action on Pat. And Pat Man checks it back. Turn doesn't look to change much. And Infetic, now feeling a little bit more confident, commits the rest of his chips. 854,000 into a pot of just 562. And Pat Man is going to give it up. Pat Man still our chip leader with 5.34 million. Once again, when you eliminate a player, you get their bounty. Hand 7. Blind still 50,000, 100,000. Pat Man in the hijack decides not to play it. Sat1337 in the cutoff. He's going to raise 2x. Surge Nuts at the 10-9. kind of in 3-better fold mode here. And Fatique's not going to play. And if you're Stasic, I think you probably want to shove this, and he does. He makes the shove for 11 big blinds. Back over to Sat, and obviously this is a pretty easy fold if you're Sat. Stasic, by the way, has final table the Sunday warm-up twice. Sat does fold, and Stasic takes that one down up to $1.5 million. Nice aggressive play from Stasic. Huge pay discrepancy in the pay ladder. First place, $127,000. Third place, $67,000. Ninth place, $6,483. And it might be one of the reasons why in the early goings, these players are playing it a little bit closer to the vest, a little bit more cautious. Nobody wants to get eliminated in ninth place. And of course, as I say that, Nakai moves all in with King 9 of diamonds. Then again, he only had 3 big blinds. I don't think he had a choice. I think everybody at this table was kind of waiting for this player to move all in and possibly get eliminated. It's always an interesting dynamic at a table when you have one very short stack. And to be honest, I actually like the shove by Nakai. Obviously, Sat's going to make the call. Nakai knows if he gets called, he's behind, but he's just hoping for live cards, and he has live cards here. And you can see, I mean, he's only a 3-2 dog. Needs to get lucky at this point in the tournament. He knows that. Well, didn't get lucky there. Needs running cards. And he is now drawing dead. Nakai from Norway will be gone in ninth place. Takes home $6,483. 8 players remain in event number 16 of the Turbo Championship of Online Poker. We want to thank you for watching and joining us here in our highlight shows. And as always, when you watch, we give you something. How about a free roll? But if you want to play in the free roll, you need the password, and that's coming later.
He's playing poker!
I've been wandering around this place like a gypsy gnome.
Drop us all in!
Yes!
We are competition everywhere. We are poker.
Welcome back to the TCOOP. 8 players remain. Pat Man, still our chip leader. Fonbet Rouli, our short stack at hand number 9. George Toulouse. George Toulouse, by the way, from the UK. Currently second to last in chips. Pat with the ace-jack suited. Blinds are now 60,000, 120,000. He's going to raise minimum 2x. Surge Nuts isn't going to play this, but in Fatigue, most definitely going to play this. And look at Stasic's hand right behind him with pocket 8s. This could be interesting. Sure enough, there's the shove by Fatigue over to Stasic. And what do you do with 8s? You got to raise a 3-bet shove. Stasic folds the 8s. Little bit over $1 million back over to Pat Man. Not quite getting 2-1. But he's going to make the call. Pot just under 3 million chips. Pat Man looking for clubs or a jack. Wow, what a flop for Fatigue. He's got a diamond draw. Pat Man needs running cards or a jack that's not a diamond. That's not going to do it now. He needs a queen that's not a diamond to hit Broadway. Ace of Hearts on the river. Fatigue doubles up to 2.9 million. Pat Man still our chip leader with just under 4 million. Now, I mentioned George Toulouse. He has won the Sunday Supersonic, the bigger 109, and final table, the Sunday Million. That's George Toulouse from the UK, who is in the cutoff seat with Ace-3. Action right now on Surge Nuts with Ace-7 offsuit. Early position, you can probably find the better spot. Really depends on your table dynamic and your image. Fatigue with the ace-jack offsuit. Wow, he's not going to play that either. A lot of these players playing it very tight. Ace-jack offsuit, under the gun +2 in an 8-handed game. Pretty tight laydown. Fonbit on the button with King Jack. You expect him to raise, and he's going to shove all in. TJ Pan, not going to play it. Pat Man. Going to make the call with Queen 5. He's got live cards. Fonbit at risk. Well, pretty good flop for him, though. Hits his Jack. Pat Man needs a queen or running cards. Now just a queen. 9 of spades not going to help him, and Fonbit doubles up. So Pat Man has now doubled up 2 players. Hand 12. Still 8-handed here. Once again, 3,363 runners started this tournament. Total prize pool over 800,000. Stasic, kind of mid-position with ace-queen. Pretty standard shove spot. Shoving for about 12 big blinds. I don't think anybody here can call, but you never know. TJ Pan proving me wrong once again. He makes the call, and I don't like it. I'll be honest. I just don't think I don't think it's a profitable play to call off your chips with ace-9 suited. I just think you're going to be dominated far too often, and it's for your tournament life. Flop comes out Jack 6-3, nothing there for TJ Pan, who's at risk. Needs running hearts or a 9, and there's the 9. Once again, better to be lucky than good. 5 of diamonds on the river, and TJ Pan calls off his chips with ace-9, gets it in bad, and gets lucky. Tough break for Stasic, who's now down to 125,000 chips. He literally has 1 big blind. Stasic with Queen 6. Is this the hand that he's going to make a stand? It's either going to be this hand, the next hand, or the hand after. One of the next 3 hands, he will be all in. That much we know. George too loose. Has not played very loose. Then again, we're only 13 hands in. TJ Pan, going to raise from the cutoff with Queen Jack. Pretty standard. Maybe you get a 3-bet here from Pat Man. Yep, there's the 3-bet all in from Pat Man. Surge nuts with 6s. He might have been planning to do that until Pat Man did it. Pack over to TJ Pan, who folds the Queen Jack. And Pat Man, aggressive play, now up to 3.6 million. So Stasic does double up. We obviously did not see it. It's just a highlight show. But he's now up to 208,000. Still a lot of work to do. And you expect these players to once again play it pretty snug until Stasic either doubles up a couple of more times or is eliminated. Surge nuts raising with the King 8. This should fold around the TJ Pan, who with 5s might 3-bet shove. Blinds, by the way, are now 70,000 and 140,000. He's going to make the call. Flop is deuce 3-4. Well, if you're not going to flop a set, this is pretty much the next best thing. He's got an overpair plus the open-ended straight draw, and he's going to check. Surge nuts with the continuation bet, 280,000. And TJ Pan shoves all in. I don't think TJ Pan is ever going to get a better hand to fold. That said, I actually like the shove. I think in a tournament, there is some value to protecting your equity in the pot, and there are times where you just want to take the pot down. You don't want to let some random overcard come off, and then suddenly you lose the pot. TJ Pan does shove, and he is now up over 3 million chips, chasing Pat Man, who's our chip leader. 8 remain, event 16.
We are 10,000 people in Brazil, holding our breath. We are alone. Hunters. Hunted. We are committed. Blessed. Calm. We are all in. We are poker.
Welcome back to event number 16 of the Turbo Championship of Online Poker. Fearless Felix, our password for the Sunday Majors free roll. PokerStars giving away a whole bunch of $215 tournament seats. Make sure you get it in on the action. Hand 18. A valiant effort from Stazik, but he comes up short. He finishes in 8th place. From Poland, he takes home $10,536. We're down to 7. Blinds now 80,000, 160,000. George Toulouse shoves for 974,000. To the aggressor goes the spoils. At least that's normally the case. Unfortunately for George Toulouse, Sat 1337 has picked up pocket nines. Clearly, he's going to make this call. And in fact, he actually shoves all in over the top. Surge nuts. Don't think he'll make this call. Nope, he folds. And it's George Toulouse at risk with the ace-deuce. He's about a 2-to-1 dog. Well, he picks up a pair of deuces. Unfortunately for him, there are 3 spades out there. Needs a deuce or an ace that's not a spade. Jack of spades, Sat 1337 with the flush, eliminating George Toulouse in 7th place. George takes home $18,641. 6 players remain. Blinds are now 100,000, 200,000. Surge nuts all in for less than 5 big blinds. TJ Pan with 3.2 million chips and a pair of jacks to boot. He's going to shove all in over the top. Sat 1337. Don't think he's going to call off with ace-jack. Nope, he folds. And we'll see TJ Pan with the jacks against Surge Nuts with the ace-3 offsuit. We saw one ace is already dead. Pair of threes out there. Surge Nuts needs an ace, a 3, or running cards. And now just an ace or a 3 on the river, or Surge Nuts is gone in 6th place. Oh, there it is, the ace. 2 left in the deck, and Surge Nuts hits one of them, and he doubles up to $2.3 million. TJ Pan down to $2.3 million. Hand 40. Fawn bet with just about 3.5 big blinds. Pat Man on the button with $4.5 million. He's done a very good job of protecting his big stack while staying aggressive. Sat all in with the king. You got to call this if you're Surge. I think your opponent's going to have a weak ace a lot. He could have kings in his hand. I think in a turbo event, you just have to call this. And he does make the call. Nice call by Surge Nuts. Ace-8 against King Deuce. Surge Nuts is at risk. 9-4-3. Nothing there for Sat right now. Surge Nuts has to avoid a king or a deuce on the river, and he does that. He doubles up to $4.8 million. He is our new chip leader. Sat 1337 down to 1.3 million chips. Hand 42. Fawn bet, our short stack in the big blind. Things you've got to be aware of when you're at a table. You don't really want to be stealing here. And obviously, Pat Man has a real hand, ace-10 offsuit. Because if you have a hand like 6-4 offsuit and you're stealing, you've got to realize there's a high likelihood that Fonbet will go with this hand. About 1/3 of his chips are already in the pot. And he's likely to call off with a pretty wide range. So this is a situation where I wouldn't try to steal. Sure enough, Fonbet does go with it. Obviously, Pat Man not going to fold. And luckily for Fonbet, he's got live cards. That's all you can hope for. Well, unfortunately for him, live cards aren't going to do the trick unless he gets running cards now. Fonbet Roulette drawing dead. Remember, this is the guy who won the Sunday Million in July of last year. Now adds a 6th place TCOOP finish to his poker resume and $26,745 to his bankroll. And we are down to 5 players. Blind still 100,000, 200,000. TJ Pan with 10s in the small blind. Sat 1337 all in. Surge Nuts obviously not going to play the 8-3. In Fatigue, not going to call off with 9-8. But TJ Pan almost definitely going to make this call with the 10s. And if you're sat 1337, it's actually not a bad spot. Normally, if you shove with Queen Jack and you get called, you're worried that you're dominated. In this particular case, Sat's got overcards. Pot 2.7 million. Sat 1337 at risk. Ace 8-3. Looking for a queen or a jack. One card to come. Nope, it's the 9 of spades, and Sat 1337 gone in 5th place. The Swede takes home $34,850. 4 players remain. Event number 16 of the TCOOP. The 2nd annual TCOOP. A lot of fun, these tournaments. Blinds now 125, 250. TJ Pan raising. Surge Nuts in the big blind with Queen 10. Wouldn't shock me to see him call this. Does have a ton of chips. He could play the hand aggressively. And he does just that. Shoves all in with the Queen 10. TJ Pan makes the call with Ace 4. Wow. I mean, I tell you, TJ Pan is he just likes to gamble. He will call off with a whole variety of hands and makes the call with Ace 4. So far, so good for TJ Pan. 9 of diamonds, a lot more outs for Surge Nuts. Needs a 7, a jack, a 10, or a queen. And there's the 7. Both players with a straight. Surge Nuts with the 10 high straight, eliminating TJ Pan in 4th place. The Dane takes home $46,000. 3 players left in event number 16. Raise on the button, all in from Infatique. Surge Nuts almost definitely going to make this call with Ace Queen. He does make the call. Pot 3.1 million chips. And Infatique is dominated. And now nearly drawing dead. Queen on the turn, and that is going to do it. Infatique from Slovenia earns himself $67,000, and we are heads up. We started with 3,363 players. We are down to our final 2. Surge Nuts, the successful mid-stakes MTT grinder against Pat Man, the familiar face in the nosebleed stakes. We get a raise on the button from Surge Nuts with Ace 9. We get a shove from Pat Man. Back over to Surge Nuts. He's going to make the call. 2 hands into heads-up play, and this could be it. Surge Nuts has Pat Man covered and is a 3-1 favorite to win the hand and the tournament. King, Jack, 2 clubs out there. 6 of spades, Pat Man with a gut shot. Not going to come. Deuce of clubs on the river, and that is it. Only 2 hands into heads-up play. We have crowned a champion. First off, Pat Man from Macau finishes in 2nd place. He came into the final table 2nd in chips, played very, very well. and he'll earn himself just under $95,000. Congratulations to Surge Nuts, our TCOOP 2013 Event 16 champion. Takes home $127,000. He hails from Dominica. That is a small island in the Caribbean. Man, what a life. Not only do you win a tournament, the TCOOP, not only do you take home six figures, but you get to wake up every morning in the Caribbean. We're in the middle of January. What a life for Surge Nuts. Thanks for joining us here on PokerStars.tv. Until next time, I'm David Tuckman. Reach for the stars.